Alright guys, today we're going to be undertaking a big project, or decent sized project. I'm going to be expanding my deck a little bit here. This is just a floating deck, and I'm going to bring it out this way another 12 feet, and I'm going to redo all the railing because it's kind of janky. And yeah, so the first thing we're going to do is get all this old railing off, and then we'll start laying out our frame for the addition. Next, we're going to make our little side supports that we're going to put in between the joists. And since I use that spacer to set the distance in between joists, I went ahead and kept the stop block from when I made that cut, I kept it sitting there. And so now we can just sit here and just cut them real fast. Guys, you're in my workspace. How am I supposed to get anything done over here? We talked about this, Cluck. You'll be lucky if you're not dinner. Anyway, so here's where we're at. This is what I meant when I was talking about the cross bracing, going across where I was putting my railing post. And now that I've got that done, I'm going to go ahead and start laying down the decking and then marking off my decking spot that I need to cut out around the posts. Laid out that we're not going to be cutting. We just laid them out there, and we really got lucky. I mean, I didn't plan this at all, but it spaces out perfectly in between these posts. It's perfectly 7 across, and so we're only going to have to cut out one board for each one. Now this first one does have a gap. It does have a little bit of a gap, so we might try to space it just over a little bit, try to make it tighter. But the rest of them were great, and I think that's why we can space that a little bit, because this can come over just a little bit without much problem. So yeah, so that's gonna be awesome. All we have to do is cut them out like we did on the old deck here, like just notch out a 4x4 cutout here on the ends, and that'll work out perfect. And then over here we'll just have to notch out each post. So alright guys, here's where we're at. The decking's down. I'm having a little bit of an issue with my drill quitting on me. So I've only got the ends drilled and one line up the middle. So I need probably at least 2 more lines of screws to get that in order. But yeah, I think it's looking good. And I'm gonna have to wait until my drill charges up. But what I'm gonna do, so basically this side is all done deck wise. I need to I'm gonna make some supports down here out of some 4x4s and sit them on some pavers, so they're not going to be sitting on these paver things like this. They're going to be actually sitting on 4x4s. And the only reason I didn't go ahead and take those to the ground like that is because I already had these cut. And these are the old ones off the old deck, so they were already cut short. So I just used what I had. This is where the new opening is going to be. I'm going to put a new deck board there. Well, I'll swap it out with one of these other ones. And then I'm going to put a post actually in this one, because the spanning works out perfectly for this spanning that I did over here. To just go ahead and put one there and then continue this spanning this way over that corner. And then I'm going to do that end the same way I did this end. So we're going to have to take all these out and redo that end. It's not a big deal. So from here to this hole is going to be open, and then I'm going to I'll make a gate to go there, and then I'm just going to continue the rail all the way through, and I'll have to get rid of the step here. And like I said, I'll probably be putting 4x4 supports all down through here, and it'll just look nicer than sitting on these pavers. So that's about it. We're losing daylight. I don't know how much more I'm going to really get done, if anything. And it's going to rain, so we might not come back for a couple days to this, but I did get all the decking down at least, and I think I've found at least a good, decent stopping point. So, yeah, we'll get going and see how much we can get done. So guys, we're making some progress. I got this side of the posts up. I swapped around the deck boards, and I didn't actually have to cut any new ones, except for the end one. I'm gonna have to cut a new one because obviously the spacing is different. So but yeah, it worked out pretty good, since even though I made the opening smaller, and I actually made the opening smaller for the getting in, but I made the in between the post bigger, so I didn't actually have to use any new deck boards. And then I forgot to mention this, but we had a little accident one day, and the grill fell on the deck and burn it. So that's why these look like they're new. They're not. I just flipped them over because they're burnt on one side. So I took them up and flipped them over while I was at it. So we got to finish putting up these 4 posts around here, and then we can start doing our cross bracing on our handrails. I'll probably, once I don't know, once I get all the posts in, I'll probably go ahead and fasten down the decking. Right now, the only decking that's loose is the pieces that I've swapped around. So yeah, we'll just keep on working here. We're getting there. For those who might be curious how I cut around these post holes, is I take you can do this all with a handsaw, but I have a circular saw. So what I do is I figure out, you know, what depth I need to cut it at and the width and all that. And I take my circular saw here and I come down to I have to watch it here at the top and make sure I don't go any deeper than where I want at the top. And then, because it's a circular saw, you're coming to here at the top, but the bottom's going to be back a ways because it's, you know, cutting in a circle. So you just come in here with your handsaw and you just cut with your handsaw till you've cut all the way through the wood and you got a straight flat cut all the way down. And that's important, to just go ahead and finish the cut a little bit with your handsaw. And like I said, you could just cut this whole thing with a handsaw. Just take a little bit longer. Then you take your hammer and you just give it a good tap, just like that. And then you got a nice, decent cut. Sometimes you can take a chisel here and just chisel this out if you want to smooth it out a little bit more, or you can just leave it. All your preference. So there you go. Alright guys, so here we go. The deck boards are all screwed in and done. So the deck part of it is completely done. So that does it for part 1, and in the next video, in part 2, I'll finish up all the hand railing and make the gates. So thanks for watching.